We are joined by Sarah Burgess, driver of the number 97 eBay Motors Chevrolet, and Bridget Burgess, driver of the number 88 HMH Construction Chevrolet in the ARCA Menards Series West. They will be making history this weekend at the Bull Ring at Las Vegas Motor Speedway when they become the first mother-daughter pair in a NASCAR or an ARCA-sanctioned event to race against each other. So we're just going to start off quickly here with Sarah. Sarah, can you just give us a little bit of background as to how this idea came together and what it took to put it together?
Oh my gosh. So honestly, the idea sort of came to fruition the end of last year, like, going through a full season with Bridget's new car, and running it through and going like, this is really cool. I'd love to actually give it a go at some point as well. I'll probably help on the feedback from Bridget to understand the car a bit more. And then it just turned into how amazing would it be to then actually just race against each other. And so that was, sort of as we wrapped up the season last year, and then how we started to look at the season for this year and adding a second car for a backup for Bridget. And then that's what it was really like, oh, wow, like we need to, we could, try and make this happen to have a mother-daughter opportunity and race asphalt together. It'd be such a great experience.
Awesome. And then Bridget, your mom is usually atop the pit box for you when you're racing. What is it going to be like to be competing against her and having her as a teammate this weekend?
I think it'll be fun. My mom and I, we used to race each other in off-road, so I think it's just going to bring out that extra competitiveness from my mom, I think. So I think it'll be interesting, but really fun, and I'm really excited for it.
Awesome. We're going to open up to questions. If you have a question, please go in and raise your hand under the reactions. I see Mike Embry has his hand up. So Mike, we'll go ahead and start with you.
Good morning, ladies.
Good morning, Mike.
Sarah, tell me why this particular week, this particular track to do this?
We, in terms of the actual track selection, we did have two possibilities. It was Irwindale for the July race, was one of the first options. And then the next one being this race at the Vegas track. There's a couple of different aspects to it in just terms of the demands and what we go through for each type of race. Like, going to a road course track is, I'll be honest in saying I don't have the road course experience compared to Bridget. She's phenomenal on a road course. And then just the resources from a team perspective and personnel. Going to Irwindale is a great local track that we've been to, and it would have been a great option, but also the same for Vegas as well. It's just a little bit less on the demands for what we need to do. And the great thing about this Vegas race is that it's a straight through race where we don't have any like stops for fuel or tires. So it does simplify that opportunity. And the Las Vegas Bull Ring on a NASCAR Cup weekend really ties it all in nicely together. So, I know that there's a lot of attention going around the Cup Series right now. And, for us to be a part of the giant big story is pretty exciting.
Is there some kind of wager on who finishes best?
It is definitely the most common question, and it is. I have been asked, am I going out there just to circulate? And it's like, no, I'm going out there to be competitive. It's just my nature. We keep sort of like, who's going to win? I of course I want to see Bridget do well in the race, just from a championship point standpoint. She's doing well this year. She's 7th in points. But at the same time, yeah, I do want to do a really good job. So, but Bridget's definitely got the better car. What do you think?
I think it'll be like really. I think it'll be like tough because we're obviously gonna race each other cleanly, but like it's obviously when it comes down to the last 5 laps, we're 2 race cars out there. So it, like when we raced off-road, it was a similar situation where yes, we were teammates and we raced each other cleanly, but when it came down to the last few laps, we were just really rough with each other, I guess. And I mean, it makes it exciting. That's what's racing about. We get rough with each other, and it's just like down to the last lap. So
how many team people will you have there? More than normal or not?
We will have a couple extra people, like in terms of, because obviously we've got the spotter aspect. I'm stealing Bridget's spotter for this race, which is my husband, her dad. And we do have another spotter coming in for Bridget. And then we do actually have a couple extra crew to help support as well.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you very much, Mike.
Next, we'll go to Bob Pockris.
Yeah, Bridget, how much have you learned about how to race from your mom?
When we were racing each other in off-road, I think the biggest thing that my mom taught me is just patience with the car, or at the time it was the truck. Just being patient, not like, as a young driver, of course, I'm going to try and win on the first lap in the first corner, but I learned very quickly from my mom, like, be patient. You have X amount of laps, like, use it. So that's something that my mom has definitely taught me. And both of my parents have also taught me a lot about Apex. That's something that I didn't entirely understand before I got into racing, but just learning clean lines, how to race clean, not damage your car, save your tires, save your truck or car for the race.
And obviously, the sport can use more women racers. Do you view this and the notoriety that this will bring as an important step in that?
I think it's a great opportunity. I hope that it influences other females to get more into racing and be more involved, whether it's to be mechanically wise on other teams or as a driver to be in racing. I think it will just be a huge influence for young females to get into.
I second that as well. I mean, it's, so many more women getting involved with NASCAR from so many different levels, sitting on the pit box to marketing and so on. So encouraging more women to get involved and go outside their comfort zone and try something different is definitely what I'd love to be able to share that experience with everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
And next, we're going to go to RJ.
Hey, so how long has an idea like this been in the works? Has this been always? I'm sure this is always something you've wanted to do, but how long has this been? Was there a point in time like earlier this year where the idea hit and you were like, we got to make this happen?
It was the start of the year, like when we actually did get the second car. I mean, it was an idea. It was a cool idea when we were sort of talking about it at the end of the season. And then when we finished up getting the second car, it was like, oh, okay, now we really got this second car. And that was back in February, March, as we're getting ready for the first ARCA race at Phoenix. And so then it was, what do we need to do? Like, how big of a challenge is it to get this accomplished? Unfortunately, we're a family that never gives up. We just, if we want to achieve something, we do everything we absolutely can to make that goal happen. So yeah, basically it was February, March. We're like, this is a great idea because now we physically have the car sitting in our workshop.
And do you think this can be kind of a building block too for next seasons, in the future?
Yeah, I think it would be really exciting. I think I really wanted my mom to actually race Portland with me, and because it's just doing more races with my mom, I think is really fun. And I love road course. So I hope that one day my mom and I do road course with NASCAR. I think would be really fun.
And Bridget, I need a lot more driver coaching from the road course. I can change gears, but not like her.
Awesome. Best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And next, we're going to go to Grace.
Hi, I'm thinking maybe Sarah can speak a little bit about this, but just your guys' journey, like from Australia to here, and just what it's been like to see Bridget race and her progress, through these last couple seasons. What's the big picture for you guys? Like, what are you kind of hoping this career and even this race turns out to be?
It's been truly an amazing experience. I mean, back in Australia, I wrench, I fabricate, and I worked on a lot of street cars, performance cars. When we moved over here, Bridget was 6 and barely could fit into she was a tiny person in the airplane seat, as if to say. But she grew up in the environment, just hanging out at our workshop. And as we continued to just, make goals and achieve them and, make new goals and so on, and Bridget got to watch that every step of the way, and for her to look up to me is truly amazing for me to be her mentor. I think it's an amazing opportunity as a parent, not just being a parent, but being a mentor. And then getting involved with racing, and Bridget was always there. She was always the person to help me get out of my truck, clean my truck. She finished up being the person that was responsible for changing the rear end gears in my truck. And so she's always been extremely hands-on and just developed a great different set of skills as opposed to most 15-year-old girls, which is truly amazing. Then when she came to both Adam and I, it's like, I would like to race. And it's just, okay, well, like, let's see what we can do to make it happen. And that's like, she got to use my pro truck for her regional races, you know, and she worked really hard. And so just continuing for the dedication and the progression, and then see her take on the asphalt racing the way she did, just without me having to lead it. You know, it was all on her, like when we did asphalt modified. And then when we went and did the first K&N race and so on. And even testing, like she got to test with Bill McAnally at the end of 2019. It was such a great experience. And that was not her following in my footsteps. That was actually her taking her own lead and making that opportunity for herself, which was amazing to watch. And again, just the opportunities of being here in America is what helped us grow into what we have today.
Thanks. And then real quick, Bridget, if you could just talk a little bit about the dynamic between you and your mom, with her being your crew chief. Sometimes, you know, family dynamics in racing can be a little challenging, but what's maybe the most fun for you and also the most challenging?
It can definitely be challenging. I think that, I guess the challenging part is obviously as a family, we're with each other almost 24/7. We're in the shop, then we're like in the weekend and we're racing together. So there's like never any space and we're just nonstop working. I think the only time we ever have a break is when we have a 10-hour drive to the racetrack, and that's it. So that's more of the challenging part because we definitely push ourselves really hard. But I also enjoy that because that's taught me so much outside of racing about being dedicated and committed to like a job that you love. And then also, I think like the exciting part is that we're a very competitive family. So it's like all of us, if we were to go rental karting, it's really just hands-on and aggressive. So for my mom and I to be in a 3,400-pound car going racing together, I think it's really fun.
Thank you guys. Good luck.
Thank you.
Sarah and Bridget, I have a couple of emails or a couple of questions that were emailed to me last night by a media member who's traveling this morning and couldn't make it on the Zoom. He was wondering, what does this moment in NASCAR history mean to your family?
Honestly, it's completely breathtaking, to be honest, like in terms of you know, where we came from in Australia, and you know, you see NASCAR on TV, and even when we moved here in 2008, and it's just you know, it's the biggest motorsport series in America, and never would I have thought in 2008 I'd be sitting here in a press conference, you know, with reporters that have been a part of the sport for many, many years. You know, having questions asked of us. So I'm very humbled by the opportunity, but it is honestly an amazing opportunity to be a part of this and making history in so many different ways. I'm speechless.
It looks like Mike has a follow-up question, so I'm going to go back to him before I go to one of these others.
Yeah, just a couple of easy questions. Where do you guys live? Where is your shop? And I hate to ask this, but how old are you?
So I have no problems admitting my age. I'm 42. So I just had my birthday last week, and you know, I pride myself on my age and the fact that I'm still, you know, out doing things that like a 20-year-old should be doing. So I'm happy about that. So we are based in Tooele, Utah, which is about 35 minutes west of Salt Lake City. And our race shop is located at Utah Motorsports Campus. So that's where Bridget gets all of her road course skills from. She gets to go to track days quite often on the road course out here. And yeah, it's been a great opportunity.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I'm going to get one more in here from the email questions that were submitted. How challenging, and you touched on this a little bit earlier, but how challenging has this project been to put together, not only as far as funding, but equipment, personnel, and all the vital infrastructure to house a two-car team for the ARCA Menards Series West?
I mean, the most challenging aspect, and this is with any race team, and we're not an exception, is the funding and the sponsorship to be able to do the event at a competitive level. And so, and that's through that support with eBay Motors. Them coming on board for this race is, again, such an amazing opportunity. There's a lot of firsts for eBay Motors to be involved with what we're doing, which is fantastic. The other thing is, of course, the equipment aspects. Even though we had the second car come in, there was still just the going through the rule book and making sure that it was up to date with all the rule changes that we had from 2019 to 2022. That car was originally a K&N series car, so we had to go through and update that. And of course, just little like things with the engine and making sure that we've got a good solid engine. And again, very similar to what the industry goes through in inventory shortages. They've been a couple of the other challenges as well. So that's been the biggest thing. But like I said, the support that we've got with eBay Motors to be able to, they came on board with Bridget for the last 5 races that we've had. And then, of course, participating as the title sponsor of my car for this Vegas race has been definitely relieved a bit of that pressure that we've had.
Awesome. Are there any other final questions from any of the meeting members that are in the Zoom with us? All right. Well, Sarah and Bridget, good luck this weekend at Las Vegas. The race is going to be streamed live on Flow Racing at 8:30 Pacific time, 11:30 Eastern time for anyone who wants to watch the two of them race. Thanks everyone for joining us.
Thank you, everyone.